Hello everyone and welcome inside Hazeltine Field for a brand new football season. For Diego Sanchez, I'm Aguirre Deliu, and we have a great matchup here tonight on El Segundo TV between Oak Park and El Segundo. Now both of these teams, Diego, come into this matchup 1-0, but the El Segundo Eagles are not the team that we saw last year. No Taz Tuwese, no Jake Palmer. Those two guys graduated along with 25 other seniors. There is, though, Matthew Romero, who made his debut last week against Lusinger, had a stellar performance, 4 total touchdowns, 2 touchdowns through the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground, giving El Segundo the first win of the season. Oak Park also 1-0. You were there in that game when they defeated Peninsula. What did you see from Oak Park that can give El Segundo some trouble here tonight?
Well, Egidio, Oak Park won 21-16 over Peninsula. They have a young quarterback. He's a junior, but his first year on varsity, he led the JVs last year to a 9-1 record, Cole McCreary. His coach, Casey Webb, said he's got a real good head on his shoulders, doesn't make too many mental mistakes. And the other part that may give El Segundo problems, if they've got a monster lineman, Hunter Lee, number 70, 6'4", 260, all-state. And El Segundo comes in a little thin at the line. They've got some injuries, so they're going to have to watch out for number 70. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah, the big guy should definitely give some trouble to the El Segundo Eagles down in the trenches. For more on this game, they go to Talia Anderson on the sidelines.
Thanks, guys. This is the first home game of the 2017 season, and Coach Steve Shevlin is nothing short of confident. I spoke to him yesterday, and he gave the guys one last prep talk, and that's to be prepared, be sharp, and be ready to get the W tonight. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Tolly. Should be a great matchup between the Oak Park Eagles and the El Segundo Eagles. Kickoff is coming up next. The Eagles defeated the Olympians.
Yeah, they played well. I was, looking at a new quarterback, obviously Matthew Romero. He looked pretty good in that game. I mean, he made some nice throws, and he's got good size. He's a big kid, over 6 foot, 190 or 185, I think he is. Let's see what the roster says. He's we got him at 195, so he's good size. The one caveat, of course, is, right now, El Segundo doesn't really have a very viable backup because the kid that would be theoretically is a transfer and hasn't been able to, he hasn't gotten all his paperwork straightened out in terms of the hardship rules and all that, so.
Yeah, Dar Saison, he'll be available when league play begins on October 2nd. Right now, at quarterback will be Matthew Romero. Right behind him, Nick Villa, who's only a sophomore, 5'8", 145 pounds. So hopefully Matthew Romero can be the guy for the Eagles this year. And he's a good kid. Talked to him a few times. I like his poise for a young quarterback, Diego. He knows when to stay in the pocket. He knows when to run. He can definitely run when needed. And he has a big arm, big lengthy body. Reminds me a lot like Lars Newbar, but we'll see with only one game under his belt. Too early to compare those two guys. This game here tonight, though, against Oak Park will definitely tell us more about Matthew Romero.
So I guess the Eagles did win and declined, I think. So they're kicking away.
El Segundo will kick off here, and Oak Park will receive. And back for Oak Park, it looks like number 1, Keith Mawat. As Villalobos kicks for El Segundo. This one's a squib kick, almost lost by Mawat. And finally brought down hard by Villalobos. The kicker made the tackle at the 25-yard line, and that's where Oak Park will begin their first drive of the ball game.
Oak Park, as I mentioned in our open, runs kind of a tricky offense. They do a lot of misdirection and option type stuff, so El Segundo will really need to be on their toes.
Yeah, Cole McCreary under center of the shotgun, hands off to his running back, and gets brought down. An alligator tackle. That was number 6, Bryce Hardy, on the carry.
And a great play by Hardy there as they were running to the left side. So they pulled a couple of guys around It wasn't their All-State Hunter Lee leading. I noticed that. It was the two linemen from the other side. They pulled them over to that left side, and they were leading, but a great job by the El Segundo defender there.
Here's McCreary once again out of the shotgun, hands off. There's room there to the left side, and Hardy, another nice gain. Wide open, could have had more yards, but a great job by the El Segundo defense, led by Kyle Freeman and Danny McEntee.
And I noticed that the El Segundo defense against the run of Lusinger looked pretty good early in that game last week as well. You know, as the game wore on, Lusinger ran it a little bit more, but early on here, El Segundo standing up well on defense against the run.
3rd down and 5 for Oak Park. Cole McCreary again out of the shotgun, sends a man in motion. That's Nick Cantia, takes the snap, throws, almost intercepted by Villalobos, incomplete, and that's going to bring up 4th down for Oak Park.
Well, it was intended for 22, Michael Holcomb, but Villalobos was all over that, and that's the most experienced part of the El Segundo defense is that secondary, and they showed it right there, and they almost picked one off.
A great job by Villalobos, who had an interception last week against Lusinger, along with 14 tackles to go with it in that game. A great play from the defense there. So now we have a punter situation for Oak Park.
It's Janny Smith, that new punter that they have brought up to from JV.
There's the punt, nice and high. And McEntee calls it off for a fair catch. Will get it at about the 48-yard line. Great field position for the Eagles to start off their first offensive drive with Matthew Romero under center. And that was key in last week's win. The Eagles had great field position on all of their drives.
Yeah, they get great field position, and Romero, that takes a little bit off the pressure of a young quarterback to, start off in such an, across midfield. He doesn't feel like he's under pressure against his own goal line.
1st down at the 48-yard line. Romero connects, and a short gain about really bringing it back to the line of scrimmage there. That was number 16 on the reception, Scott Melton, sophomore.
Not much going on there, maybe a yard.
Yeah, very short gain. Melton had 2 receptions for 6 yards in last week's game. Romero now under center for 2nd and 9. Freeman behind him. Romero draws back, rolls to the left side, wide open, has some running room. He gets the 1st down and more, and he finally goes out of bounds at about the 28-yard line.
Well, he got clocked by Keith Mowat, one of the linebackers. And, it was interesting talking to Shevlin, Coach Shevlin of the Eagles yesterday. He was a little worried about Romero taking off like that. He says he doesn't shy away from contact, but he doesn't want his quarterback exposing himself to those types of hits too often. Great play, but he got clocked at the end of it.
Oh, yeah, especially for such a young quarterback. You want him to, know when to slide. You got a long career ahead of you. Here's Romero now on 1st and 10 out of the shotgun, hands off to Freeman. Freeman finds some room, cuts it, then goes back down the middle for a nice gain of about 6 yards there on that play.
So El Segundo moving the ball nicely here to open it up. And Romero had 12 carries last week for 39 yards. So he did carry the ball a bunch of times. And, it's an optionality for this El Segundo offense.
2nd and 4 coming up. Romero drops back, looks to throw. Number 11's wide open, makes the catch. Devin Booney, the tight end. And they're moving the chains.
Yeah, all the way down to the 15 or thereabouts. They might give it to him at the 16, but Bonnie made the catch, decent throw. And so far, El Segundo offense running like a well-oiled machine here.
Bonnie had a touchdown grab from Romero last week. 4 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown in that game. Here's Romero, tosses to McEntee, gets a block, and McEntee cuts it inside for a nice run. Almost another 1st down. At least it looked like it from up here.
Yeah, they might give it to him depending on where they spot the ball. He might be just shy. It's going to be close. They might have to measure this. Let's see. Now I think he's just shy.
Yeah, he's going to be a little bit short. McEntee was the highlighted player for El Segundo last week, and Coach Shevlin really likes this guy. Of course, a senior coming back from last year. Second and short for Romero. Rolls to the right, looks to throw. He connects with Freeman. Touchdown, El Segundo. And the El Segundo Eagles strike first, 6-0.
Yeah, nice little rollout, controlled rollout, and then he found his receiver, who was pretty wide open, and made a good throw.
Kyle Freeman, the fullback, had 3 receptions for 21 yards last week, and this first reception here today goes for a touchdown. As Villalobos looking to add one more point as he's about to attempt the point after. Romero, the holder for El Segundo.
Well, that's interesting because that's a little switch from last week. They were using a different holder. They were using Villa, the backup quarterback, last week as the holder. Oh, bad snap, but Romero did a great job of corralling it.
And that's why probably the switch, as the PAT is good. It's 7-0 El Segundo early on here in the first quarter, with 8 minutes and 37 seconds to play. And once again, great poise by the young quarterback, Matthew Romero, rolling out. Didn't rush the play, saw Freeman wide open, and then Freeman took care of the rest, running in the end zone.
Well, they looked very smooth on offense on that drive. I mean, the one big play obviously was the Romero scramble. He picked up about, 14 yards on that scramble, something like that, 15 yards maybe. And so, it's sort of a double-edged sword. Yeah, you love that play, and yet you're worried a little bit for your quarterback if you're Steve Shevlin, because right now if he goes down, it's not good. So you don't want to see him running the ball too much.
Of course, yeah, I'm sure you're having those kind of conversations with your young quarterback when he comes back from the huddle. Hey, take it easy, take the slide. It's only week 2. As Villalobos gets set to kick off here, and a nice kick, nice and high, all the way back to about the 2-yard line, and Oak Park receives. That's number 22 running it back, but goes nowhere as he's swarmed by a pack of blue shirts. That was Michael Holcomb on the return for Oak Park. And there you see Coach Shevlin talking to his young quarterback, Matthew Romero. Now has 5 total touchdowns on the season, 3 through the air. It'll be 1st and 10 for Oak Park at about the 6-yard line. The 10-yard line. Out of the shotgun, McCreary hands off to Hardy, and he's going nowhere. Great job by the defensive line, led by number 66.
Yeah, great play on the defense there. Let's see who we got at 66.
Mason Susik.
Okay. Yeah, Mason Susic. I don't know if it's Susic or Susic, but a new name, yeah. Well, we mentioned they've got a lot of injuries on the line, and so maybe they're trying out a bunch of different kids. I didn't have them on my depth chart, but.
There's McCreary to Hardy, a screen pass. Hardy comes back the other way, but wrong move as he gets nailed. Once again by this El Segundo defense, losing another yard. That's going to bring up 3rd and about 14 for Oak Park.
And if El Segundo can hold them here, it'll be interesting to see their punting game, which was very weak 2 weeks ago, I should say. They had that 1 week where the excessive heat forced a cancellation. We'll have to see how this play goes down. They got a new punter this week. We'll have to see if he's got a kick out of his own end zone.
There's McCreary out of the shotgun once again. He's looking to his left side. No one wide open. Finally makes a throw, and a grab. Is it complete? Yes, number 22 from Oak Park, Michael Holcomb.
Boy, and he threw that into traffic. He's, in a way, a little bit fortunate. I mean, it was an accurate throw, but a lot of blue shirts around that throw, and it worked out for Oak Park.
2 blue defenders right there, 2 El Segundo defenders around Holcomb, but Holcomb coming up with a nice grab and a first down. And 1st and 10 for Oak Park, and McCrary again out of the shotgun. He's got Hardy behind him. Hands off to Hardy. A little bit of a messed up handoff there, but he goes nowhere. Swarmed once again by this El Segundo defense, led by number 17, Alex Ron.
Yeah, Amaralt was in there as well, 42. He got there, James Amaralt. So far, El Segundo's run defense looks real solid. And I'm just looking to see, yeah, there's number 70 for Oak Park. He's the left offensive tackle.
There's a handoff. Oh, no, fake handoff by McCrary. He's going nowhere. He's sacked. There's Gunnar Rogers, number 55, the all-league player last year. One of the captains on this defense and offense. And Gunnar Rogers with a huge sack, taking Oak Park all the way back to about the 15-yard line.
Sean Lyon was back there too. And so far, it's all El Segundo in this game.
Oh, we said, Diego, that the lines are going to be what's going to be in question here for El Segundo, but so far, both offense and defensive line have stepped up. 3rd and long for Oak Park. McCrary throws a lob. It's caught by 23.
That's Amaralt in on the tackle.
And Michael Hewitt going nowhere. Great job by Amaral. Brings up a huge 4th down.
Well, now they're going to have to punt from their own goal line just about. So, again, El Segundo is going to get great field position here.
And that's going to be key to this ball game so far. I think his field position so far, El Segundo is winning.
So here's the new punter, Smith.
A boot, but not going too far. McEntee gets it. He's going to field it at about the 46, and he is going. He's got space, picks up a block. He's at the 20, at the 10, finally goes out of bounds. Looked like he got dragged there at the 10-yard line, but a huge return by Danny McEntee, who picked up that one at about the 44-yard line and ran it back to the 10.
Yeah, he had a big punt return last week for a touchdown against Lusinger, so he is, and he was a weapon on punt returns last. Now, is there a penalty? Oh, there's a flag. We didn't see that. There's a hanky on the
flag.
Yeah. Let's see what the call is, but it's going to come back, it looks like.
Usually, when there's a penalty on a kickoff, it usually means it's coming back.
Yeah, it's probably blocking in the back or something like that. Let's see what I haven't seen a call yet.
See what the officials say here. The head official, or the referee, is Paul Just Sr., the umpire, Wayman Wiley, the head linesman, Heath Jones, the line judge, Brandon Singleton, and the back judge, Paul Just Jr., the son of Paul Just Sr. As the referees are discussing what it can be.
Well, it's a long discussion.
Very long for a kickoff penalty.
I mean, come on, guys. What's the penalty? If you threw the flag, you should know what it is, right?
I know. I always wonder that. What's with the big discussion?
Okay. Well, it looks like it's coming back, but maybe not. It could be a spot of the foul against Oak Park. But certainly it's a great deal of...
Yeah, I thought I saw one of the referees.
Well, now the ball's being holding against Oak Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a huge boost for this El Segundo team, and the momentum just keeps rolling for the El Segundo Eagles.
So maybe, oh, I see. It's half the distance from where the run ended. So they're putting it at the 5. So talk about field position.
Huge break for the El Segundo Eagles here. And a big mistake on the other side for Oak Park.
Well, El Segundo, it bears mentioning, won this game 30-19 last year. And I anticipated a close game tonight, but, we'll see. I don't know. So far, it's been all El Segundo tonight. I mean, we're still early in the game. We're a little bit past the halfway point of the first quarter, but, I mean, El Segundo has absolutely dominated play thus far.
Yeah, it's been El Segundo so far here as some of the guys get out of the huddle, but they're coming back. I'm not sure which play they're going to run here. On a great field position here on first down, and the ball spotted the 5-yard line. Now this defense, Oak Park defense, does blitz a lot, but so far they have not been successful early on in this ball game. As you see Gunnar Rogers there, number 55, still trying to hype up this crowd. They don't need any hyping. The team's doing a great job of that. Matthew Romero under center has Freeman at fullback, McEntee in halfback, hands off to McEntee. He gets blasted by the Oak Park defenders.
Yeah, the Oak Park defense led by number 70, Hunter Lee. Oh no, excuse me, that's number 10. So one of the defensive ends, Flynn is his last name. John Flynn was one of the defenders in on that tackle, but there were about 2 or 3 of them in there. They got in there pretty good and blocked that up.
John Flynn, Bryce Hardy was the other defender, one of the defenders also there. John Flynn had 6 tackles in the first game against Peninsula. And here's Romero on 2nd and goal, rolls to the right, looking to throw, has Freeman again, and once again, deja vu, a touchdown for the Eagles. Romero to Freeman connects for the 2nd time tonight.
Well, it's the same play. I mean, it looked, you said it, deja vu. It would look like exactly a replay. It's a little controlled rollout, and Freeman was wide open again, and a nice throw, and he just ran it in. Nice catch. Look, they made it look so simple there. So El Segundo just firing on all cylinders thus far.
Break out the streamers. So far, the El Segundo Eagles are looking good as Villalobos once again, a bad throw, a snap, excuse me, one more time. Great job by Romero setting it up, and the PAT was good. 14-0, El Segundo over Oak Park with 4:02 remaining in the first quarter.
Well, there's a lot of good feeling going on that El Segundo sideline right now, and all the reasons are there for it. I mean, El Segundo has done absolutely nothing wrong in this game tonight, and Oak Park just can't get untracked. So we'll see if it's almost hard to believe that it could continue this well because it's been so perfect so far for El Segundo, but we'll see. They're doing it all correctly thus far.
Well, we talked to Coach Casey Webb for Oak Park earlier, Diego. He said, I hope my team got the jitters out of the way in that week 1 against Peninsula. But so far, a lot of elementary mistakes here from Oak Park early on in this ball game. These guys really need to settle down.
Well, the week off may have actually sort of worked against them. Mm-hmm. You know, the cancellation due to the heat. It was just brutally hot last week, and especially in that area of the West Valley, and, you know, they're just over the county line in Ventura. And they canceled the game.
As the kickoff by Villalobos will go in the end zone, as Hewitt will let it touch the end zone, and Oak Park will start at their own 20-yard line. In that week 1 matchup against Peninsula, Oak Park had 174 yards rushing, have not been successful here against the El Segundo Eagles so far early on. McCrary once again out of the shotgun, sends a man in motion, Cantilla. McCrary takes it himself, tries to dodge a defender, but gets taken down. Villalobos was the first guy to wrap around him. Alex Ron also on the tackle as well.
He picked up about 5. So they're going to set it up just after the, just beyond the 25-yard line.
So 2nd and 5 coming up for Oak Park. McCrary, the shotgun again, hands off to Hardy. He has some room, but he runs right into a pile of guys. It's not going nowhere.
Well, he could have taken it slightly left, and there was a big hole, but he didn't see it, and he just ran right into the pile and didn't pick up much of anything there.
You're absolutely right, Diego. I thought that's where he was heading. You could clearly see that hole, big hole there to the left side.
Although they gave him some yards. They gave him some positive yardage, so maybe he moved the pile. I don't know.
They're generous with that.
Yeah.
But 3rd and short coming up here, 3rd and about 1 for Oak Park. Need to convert this one. Looked like some movement on the line, and there are the penalty flags.
Yeah, they might have gotten Gunnar Rogers there, maybe. I'm not sure. I think they did. Yeah.
Encroachment on the defense. Gunnar Rogers helps Oak Park get their first down of the ball game. And with a little under 3 minutes here, 2:50 and counting, Oak Park now at about the 38-yard line. McCrary again out of the shotgun. He has Hardy behind him. Hands off to Hardy. He goes to the right side. And a nice run for about 5 yards. And now a little life out of the Oak Park offense.
And I think Lynch was in on the tackle as well as Jorge Montani. Hunter Lynch, a couple of secondary players from the El Segundo secondary got in on the tackle.
2nd and 5 for McCrary. Hands off to the other side now to Hardy. And nice run for about 3 yards this time. Hardy also had 3 receptions for 37 yards in that week 1 game against Peninsula. But his run there is going to produce a 3rd and about 2 for Oak Park. (14-0) El Segundo on top with 2 minutes left to play in the first quarter. 3rd and 2. McCrary out of the shotgun. Takes the snap, hands off to Hardy. No, he fakes it, keeps it himself, and gets brought down. Did not fool the El Segundo defense and Sean Lyon, who was there to wrap up McCrary and bring up a 4th and short for Oak Park.
Well, right there, good job by the El Segundo defense, not overcommitting and staying focused on McCreary. And he kept the ball, but El Segundo was there.
And you mentioned it, Diego, this team, this offense of Oak Park likes to run a lot of those switch plays, a lot of those fake handoffs. And El Segundo doing a great job early on here, not buying into it and reading the ball. And as a 4th down situation comes now, a punting situation from Oak Park. McEntee back to receive. A nice punt will only land at about the 38-yard line, 39-yard line, and gets fielded by number 77, Carson Glastonbury. And it looks like Tolly Anderson has a hit on the field. Let's go down to her.
Thanks, guys. Coach Shevlin sure does believe in these guys, and so does the home crowd in the stands. Everyone is fired up, and it's all about teamwork here on the sideline, hearing players scream, "Let's go." Back to you guys.
Thank you, Talia. As the El Segundo offense now, Diego, will have good field position once again at the 40-yard line, their own 40-yard line here for 1st and 10 to start off this drive.
Yeah,
Up by 14.
This is the first time they've actually started on their half of the field.
Yeah.
I mean, but still a great field position at the 40. I mean, they've just, or maybe the first, no, I think every drive they started across midfield. I can't remember for sure, but.
Romero going deep, has number 16. Scott Melton for a huge reception, bringing El Segundo all the way down to the 20-yard line.
Nice throw. There you see the arm on Romero. Nice and accurate, and beautiful, beautiful throw.
Big arm by Romero. You see his poise also in the pocket, just stood there and delivered that throw beautifully, and a great job by Melton getting open downfield. And a 1st and 10 at the 20. Romero, quick snap, tosses to McEntee. He has room, cuts it inside, and will finally be brought down by Oak Park. Looked like Keith Mawat was on the tackle for the Oak Park Eagles.
Well, El Segundo's just steamrolling Oak Park right now. I mean, this doesn't even look like a contest right now. I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be a little bit more of an evenly matchup, especially early on here. But another 1st and goal situation. Romero tosses to McEntee to the right side this time. He's got room. He's going in the end zone. Touchdown, El Segundo. With 23 seconds in the first quarter, El Segundo has scored their 3rd touchdown, and they're up 20-0 over Oak Park.
Well, I'm wondering if I'm Coach Webb for Oak Park, do I call a timeout just to try and kind of, sort of circle the wagons type of thing, just to talk to my troops and say, hey, guys, come on. The game started, the game started 12 minutes ago. Let's go. Because they just look like they're not into it.
And the PAT by Villalobos once again is good. And it's 21-0 El Segundo over Oak Park with 23.7 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
I mean, we got to give some credit to El Segundo here. They played flawless. One penalty. That's it, for 5 yards. But also, Oak Park just hasn't. They drove the ball a little bit that last time that they had it. They moved it a little bit, but they haven't shown much through the air, and so they seem a little limited on offense so far and haven't been able to sustain enough of a drive to put up any points. And it's been all El Segundo.
Well, also, to piggyback off of that, the El Segundo offense is doing so well that they're scoring so quick that the defense is not on the field a lot. So the offense for Oak Park is coming back right away. They're not catching their breath. Obviously, things aren't clicking for them as they would like to be. So a whole lot of things going on here for Oak Park. El Segundo definitely rolling on all cylinders so far here in the first quarter as they lead 21-0 with 23 seconds here remaining in the first quarter. Villalobos once again will get ready to kick it off. Villalobos also a varsity soccer player here in El Segundo. In his second year as a varsity football team, kicks off a nice kick all the way in the end zone, and Oak Park will not bring it out. They will start at the 20-yard line. Smart move.
Well, I think it's a rule. I've noticed this in high school. I think they don't let them run it out. If it goes into the end zone, they can't run it out.
You might be right, because I saw the official right away. As soon as he caught the ball, he blew the whistle.
Yeah,
so
I think it's something to protect the kids. It's like they're worried about high-speed collisions or something. I've noticed it repeatedly now, and it's got to be a rule that once it goes in that end zone, they can't bring it out.
That's a good point, Diego. As Oak Park will take over now, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. It looks like.
Oh, well, there's the timeout.
There's the timeout.
Well, maybe they had the wrong personnel on the field. I got the feeling that somebody wasn't out there that should have been out there. And that, that speaks a little bit to the rustiness and maybe not having their heads totally where they need to be in terms of getting it together. So Coach Casey Webb forced to call a timeout. It's interesting. I went out there just, prior to that Peninsula game versus Oak Park and talked to Coach Webb. And, I asked him, how come you guys end up playing El Segundo so many times? Because I know these two programs have played each other several times over the past decade or so. And he clued me in on some of the connections. It's interesting that these two programs have. And, the athletic director for Oak Park, let me dig up his name here, but he coached Steve Shevlin. And so that's one of the connections. His name was Billingsley, his last name. And he coached Steve Shevlin, I believe, when Steve Shevlin was in high school. Now, that part I might have wrong, but he maybe Steve Shevlin played at a slightly higher level. Anyway, he coached Steve Shevlin. So that's one of the connections. It's an interesting sort of little sidelight to the connection between these two programs.
McCreary out of the shotgun, fakes the handoffs, going deep. And incomplete, a little bit away from the defender. Number 23 was the intended receiver there, Michael Hewitt. Great job on the coverage.
Yeah, the defender on that play was Hunter Lynch, and he did a good job of staying stride for stride with his man. And I was worried for a second that he might get called on a interference because he wasn't looking back for the ball. But he wasn't interfering with his guy either. He was just running right next to him, and the throw wasn't exactly there either. So.
2nd and 10 now, again at the 20 for Oak Park. Out of the shotgun, McCreary rolls down, looking to throw down the middle, connects with his receiver this time. That's number 2, Nick Cantina.
So close to a first down. Are they going to give it to him? I guess they do. And that could be the last play of the first quarter.
As clock winds down here in the first quarter, 4 seconds remaining. And the referee's also looking up at the clock, and I believe you're right, Diego. They're going to let this one roll, and that's going to do it. The end of the first quarter. El Segundo big, 21-0 over Oak Park.
Yeah, a little bit of a shock to me. I thought it would be a much closer game. And, of course, there's still 3 quarters left here, so anything can happen. But, boy, the degree of dominance that El Segundo has displayed has been surprising to me.
Yeah, still a lot of football left to be played, but the El Segundo Eagles have to be happy as you see them there on the sideline. Coach Den Heck, the defensive coordinator for a long time here in El Segundo, his defense doing a great job. And there you see Oak Park. They need to come up with something here, Diego. They need to think of something to get their momentum back, whether it's on special teams, defense, or offense. Oak Park needs to get the momentum back on their side if they want to have a chance in this ball game.
Well, it's interesting. They tried shaking it up a little bit there with that long throw, and we'll see if that loosens up the El Segundo defense at all. You know, the one issue that Oak Park might have is that, yeah, the most experienced part of the El Segundo defense is that secondary, so they may have trouble going deep like that.
On 1st and 10, McCrary with 3 receivers to the right, hands off to Hardy. He has a blocker in front of him, some room, but hesitates a little bit, just enough time to give the El Segundo defenders time to get there and make the tackle. A short gain of about 3 yards for Hardy.
James Amaral was in on that tackle. We've called his name before.
James Amaral, the junior, 6 foot, 185 pounds, had 9 tackles in the Lusinger game. As a 2nd and about 7 for Oak Park. McCrary hands off once again. And Hardy for another nice gain. Right up the middle this time. He's going to bring up 3rd and about 3 for Oak Park. Oak Park needs to get this rushing game going.
Yeah, they haven't broken off any long runs. They, 5-6 yards has been probably about the most, maybe 7.
It's been sporadic as Hunter Lynch is the big lineman lined up to the left there. McCrary rolls out, connects with his receiver, but he's not going anywhere. Tim Shorts on the tackle, brought down Hardy right away as soon as he caught the football, bringing up a big 4th down, a loss of about 3 yards there on the play.
And El Segundo's defense just doing a great job right now. They are on point and just all over these short little passes, and they just haven't made any mistakes yet.
Realistically, if you didn't know who these guys were, it looks like the team from last year. If you're an El Segundo fan, this defense is playing so great. And another punting situation for Oak Park. Almost got it blocked, but finally does get it off. McEntee back there to receive. He's going to let this one roll.
Yeah, Oak Park got a favorable bounce there.
Finally down by Michael Holcomb at about the 31-yard line. That's where El Segundo will take off with a 21-0 lead with 10 minutes remaining here in the second quarter.
And you notice McAtee's savviness on that punt, because once it started taking those crazy hops, he just got away from the ball, because you don't want to fumble it, touch it, mishandle it, and then all of a sudden you've given them some momentum. So he did the right thing.
That's why he's one of the featured guys on this squad. Romero will take over at the 31-yard line, out of the shotgun, fakes the handoff, looks, throws deep, has a man down, but a defender also is there. He was aiming for Danny McEntee. Great job by Nick Cantia on the coverage.
Well, Romero got a little fortunate there because he kind of threw it into double coverage, and no harm came of it, but he was maybe trying to force a throw there a little bit. And, that speaks a little bit to the youth. It's his first year on varsity, so at any rate, nothing terribly wrong happened. But
2nd and 10, Romero tosses to McEntee. He goes to the right side, comes back to the left. Let's see, Romero picks up a block. McEntee has some room and is finally brought down at the 37-yard line, 38-yard line. And a great run by McEntee. That's a video game type of run. The runs we're used to seeing from Tass to Wesse over the last few years, Diego.
Yeah, he reversed his field very suddenly and very quickly there, McEntee. He's got very quick feet. That's one thing I noticed with him in that game against Lusinger last week in terms of his shiftiness.
And Romero picking up that block. I'm sure something Coach Shevlin did not like to see there, but nonetheless, 3rd and 3. Romero rolls to the right, connects with Melton. And that's enough for a first down, a gain of about 5 on the catch there for Melton.
And that was a very nicely executed play. I mean, they knew exactly what they needed to pick up for the first down. Melton ran the pattern exactly to where it needed to go to pick up that first down, and the throw was there on time. So very nicely done.
And Melton, only a sophomore, doing a great job receiving so far for the Eagles. 1st and 10 at the 44-yard line. Romero out of the shotgun, hands off. That's number 4, Jorge Montani, for a huge run. All the way into Oak Park territory.
Yeah, he got about 11 yards, 10. Give him 10. Give him 10 yards. So all the way to the Oak Park 46. Montani last week had 3 carries for 16 yards, so that's not going to hurt his average right there.
Yeah, nice run. Another first down for El Segundo. They're going to start here 1st and 10. Back on either side of Romero, Montani and McEntee. Romero takes the snap, drops back, rolls to the right. There's a flag.
Yeah, I think it's going to be holding on the Eagles there.
This one's going to come back as Romero.
Romero should just go
move.
down. He should. Yeah, those are the plays where he just needs to kind of. I guess he's not aware that there's a flag, but.
On another late flag here, it could be unsportsmanlike.
Well, the first one's holding on the Eagles. I'm certain of it because I saw it.
Yeah, I could see that one.
Yeah, and the second one, I don't know. It came late, so yeah, you're probably right.
Looked like it was a tug of war there for the football between Oak Park and El Segundo. A little bit after the whistle. But yeah, you're definitely right there, Diego. Those are plays that Romero, he was right there. He's got to be aware of the flag. Go down. There's a penalty. It's not going to go anywhere. Take the slide.
Yeah, he was trying to make something out of something out of nothing there. And sometimes those are the plays that you get hurt on because you're kind of being held up by one tackler and you're trying to struggle out of that guy's grasp, and some other guys are coming to clock you. And it can turn out not so great. But Romero seems like a pretty tough little customer. I mean, he's good size, as we mentioned, 6'2", 195 listed on the program. And anyway, but that's one thing that Coach Shevlin wants him to be a little bit more aware of, is just when to hold him and when to fold him. Yeah,
exactly.
So let's see have we seen any signals from the referee yet? I'm pretty sure one of them's holding.
Yeah, they're still discussing it here.
There's the hold. Yeah.
On El Segundo.
Yeah. And what else do we have? Unsportsmanlike on El Segundo. So they're both on El Segundo. So that's the first real sort of mistake in a way, penalties. This is going to really send them back to.
Yeah, this is going to cost the Eagles here.
Yeah. This is going to put this drive on ice, I think, unless Romero really pulls one out of the fire, because they lost about 25 yards on this.
That's a huge loss there on two penalties.
More than 25 yards. They lost 30-plus yards on that. So it's going to be first and a long way to go. I can't even measure. Let's see, 10, 20, 30.
It's first down.
It's almost 40. It's 1st and 40, let's call it.
First and here to Oak Park as Romero takes the snap, throws to his left. That ball is going to be incomplete. It hit the ground before it hit Bonnie.
Yeah, it was intended for Devin Bonnie, but he underthrew that ball. So second in the proverbial mile.
Yeah, they have it as 2nd and 40. It's a long distance here for this El Segundo offense.
Well, I think what you want to do now is just try to pick up some yards. Just try to pick up positive yardage, so that if you have to punt, you don't give up real terrific field position.
There's the handoff to Montani, and a short gain. Definitely is going to move the ball up a little bit.
Yep.
And get some breathing room. That's what you're working for right now, unless you catch a big play, get the defense off guard, but you just want to give your punter some room to breathe back there. And it's going to be third and now about 35, so about a 5-yard gain from Montani on that run. 7:37 and counting here in the second quarter, 21-0 your score. El Segundo over Oak Park. Matthew Romero on 3rd and 35 out of the shotgun, takes the snap, drops back, now takes it himself, rolls, stops, throws, intended for Melton and no good, defended well by Oak Park.
Yeah, and now do we have more flags? Because I see the officials congregating back there. Yes, there's a flag on the field on the near sideline here. I didn't see what happened. I don't know if they clocked Romero after he threw the ball, because there were a few Oak Park players kind of closing in on him there. But I didn't, because I followed the arc of the ball and I didn't see if Romero got hit late or what happened, because it's in that area where he threw the ball. Unsportsmanlike. Is that what I saw? Unsportsmanlike?
That's what it looked like from the referee.
But against who? Did he show who it was against? Well, they're pacing it off against Oak. What, they're running the play over again? That's weird. Fourth down. No, it's fourth down.
And 35 now, so.
But they didn't pace off any yardage. Was it both sides? Maybe it was against both sides, so maybe it canceled out.
Nonetheless, here's the punt. Oh no, Romero's going to roll out. And a pooch punt gets blocked by Oak Park and recovered at about the 2-yard line. This could be the play that turns the momentum over from El Segundo to Oak Park.
Well, this happened last week at Lusinger, and it's something that they're going to have to straighten out on this El Segundo team. Maybe they don't have a real punter on this team, because they're using this quick kick type of, I don't know what you want to call it, a play, is sort of I guess it gives him an option, but with 4th and 30-something, he's not going to try to, you're just straight punting here.
And that far back in your own end zone, you do not, or in your own field, you do not want to try that. That was a gutsy call there.
Well, I talked to Coach Shevlin about that play that backfired against Lusinger, because it gave Lusinger life in that game, if you'll remember, because you were there. Mm-hmm. But and he said, "Oh yeah, that was a bad play." And he said that was on me. I called the wrong protection, and that was on me. He said that was on when I talked to him on Thursday, I think. So it's interesting. I don't know what went wrong there, but obviously both teams get to scout each other via film, and so Oak Park had to know a punt's coming, because it's 4th and 30-something. So you're not gonna try and pick up the 30-something yards. You're gonna punt. Anyway, they were in the backfield, so whatever protection was set up there for Romero didn't work out, and Romero's kind of trying to kick it on the run, sort of, which is hard to do. And so it's a difficult play to pull off, and then if you don't have the right guys protecting or whatever, which they didn't there, it blew up. And now, of course, Oak Park has life here. They got the ball at the 3-yard line.
Yeah, great field position from Oak Park. Let's see if they can capitalize. 1st and goal. McCrary out of the shotgun, of course, once again. Hands off. No, fake hands off. Keeps it himself.
Did he get in there?
They're fighting for it. No official is signaling yet.
I don't see a signal, so he must have maybe come up just a little bit shy.
Just short. Probably about a half a yard there for McCrary, but still a nice run. And it's going to be 2nd and short. Now about a yard away.
Yeah.
They spotted it from the end zone. McCrary had 11 carries, 54 yards in the Week 1 win over Peninsula. So 2nd and goal, McCrary out of the shotgun, has Hardy behind him. Keeps it himself once again, and great job by the El Segundo defense. Read very nicely. Nick Villa, one of the guys on the stop.
Well, El Segundo, he should have handed it off there, because Mason Susic also was in there, and no gain at all. But, number 6, Bryce Hardy, he would have been able to punch it in, I think, but he didn't get the ball.
So 3rd and goal, Oak Park will try once again. Hardy behind McCrary, who's out of the shotgun, takes the snap, hands it off. Fumble! McCrary gets it back and is hit backwards from El Segundo Great job by the defense. Jorge Montani, he does come up with a football. I don't know if they're going to call it a fumble.
Well, it definitely was.
It was the first fumble, but Montani ended up with a ball. I don't think it's going to be El Segundo football.
Let's see what they're calling. Who came up with it? Did you see? Well, anyway, they now it's 4th down. But
So
you're right. They're keeping the ball. Oak Park's keeping the ball. And are they going to kick a field goal or are they going to go for it?
Looks like Oak Park is going for it on 4th and about 5. 5 yards to go. McCrary takes the snap. This time he will throw in the end zone. No good, incomplete. Great job by Jorge Montani. Once again, the playmaker on defense comes up big for El Segundo.
It looked like it was intended for number 4, Joseph Noah. Noah Joseph. I hate those guys with 2 first names. Noah Joseph is his name. And boy, what a momentum buster that is for Oak Park. They had a touchdown there. I mean, they had the ball 1st and goal at the 3. I mean, you gotta put up the 6 points there. And boy, to not even get 3 to turn it over on downs, that's devastating for Oak Park.
Huge turnover on downs there. As a handoff by Romero. Goes nowhere. On the run, it looked like it was Freeman.
And I wonder if that's, the young quarterback. I don't know. I mean, it was a simple just handoff play to, it's a play that, you run in practice every week, several times. It's a simple play. You do it in walkthroughs. But they botched it. They bumbled it, dropped it.
Huge mistake there by Oak Park. Let's see if they can recover as 2nd and 8 for El Segundo. Romero under center, hands off, fumble again. It looks like Oak Park has it. No official signal yet.
I think Oak Park does have it.
And they do. There is the signal by the referee. And it's Oak Park football. The 2nd fumble within mere seconds of each other. This time gives Oak Park back the football and perhaps the momentum. 2nd life now for the black and gold Eagles.
Well, now they're going to have another chance, and this time from about the 4. So, wow. Never a dull moment in this game so far. So, Oak Park back in business.
It's been a good one so far for our first home game of the season. And with 4 minutes and 23 seconds here in the 2nd quarter, 21-0, your score, El Segundo on top. But a 1st and goal after a fumble recovery from Oak Park. McCrary out of the shotgun, takes the snap, hands to Hardy. Hardy goes up the middle, but goes nowhere. The El Segundo defense, like a pack of wolves, stops Hardy in his tracks.
Well, he picked up a little bit of yardage, but not much, maybe 1. So it'll be 2nd down and goal to goal. And the other thing is that the clock is starting to run down. They still got the time, but this is all chewed up some time, all this back and forth, and the fumbling back and forth. And, of course, that favors El Segundo with, 21-0 lead.
On a 2nd and goal for Oak Park. McCrary takes the snap. There's a flag.
Somebody moved early. The wide receiver on that left side moved early.
That's going to blow the play dead then.
Yep, that's 23, right. I think. Michael Hewitt, I think, started moving early.
The senior receiver got called there.
Yeah, and boy, that's well, we'll see if they can overcome it, but that's a big mistake because now you can't necessarily run it in there. Now you've got 2nd and goal, but it's from the 8.
And now you got to chip away at these yards because it just brought you back 8 yards instead of 4.
Yeah, well, it's a big difference.
McCrary
will have to put it up.
Has Hardy, 3 receivers to the right, A low snap from McCrary, gets it. He looks to run himself, and he will run for a few yards and brought down by Alex Ron, the junior defensive end.
Well, he picked up about 3. So this is going to be now a 3rd and goal from, well, they spotted it at the 6, it looks like. So they only gave him 2.
And you're in 4th down situation here with under 3 minutes. It's 2 minutes and 55 seconds remaining in the 2nd. You're going to go for it, so it looks like you have 2 plays here.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if they get to 4th down, it'll be interesting to see if they elect to go again. But they probably will, you're right.
The man in motion for McCrary. Kadia McCrary takes a snap, rolls to the right, goes nowhere, almost clotheslined by El Segundo, but does get the toss off and is read well by the defense.
Well, it's amazing he even got the ball off. I mean, it's a no gain basically, but it's a loss of 1 or 2, but it's amazing he got the ball off.
Yeah, it would have been a loss of about 4 or 5 there.
See, now it's interesting because now I think you got to try and kick a field goal. You got to get the moral victory of getting some points on the board. Let's see what they do.
You were gifted another turnover right there. You got to get some sort of points out of this, but.
And here's Gianni Smith. He's going to try the field goal, number 12 from the, where is he? 21, 22-yard line. So it's a 32-yarder.
And Keith Mowat, the holder for Oak Park, with under 2 minutes, 1:42 and counting here in the second quarter. 21-0 your score. Oak Park looking for the first points. There's the hold, the kick.
I think it's good.
It looked good from up here, and it is good from down there as well. Oak Park finally scores. It's 21-3 with 1:33 in the second quarter.
Well, certainly a moral victory for the Eagles, meaning the El Segundo Eagles there. I mean, it's great that they got some points, but I'm sure Oak Park is disappointed to come away two times inside the 10-yard line, and they only come away with 3 points.
Yeah, like you mentioned also, Diego, they had to score in that second possession there. They were gifted pretty much another chance at the end zone.
At the 5.
At the 5,
they were at the 5-yard line.
Had to make something happen there and score, and they did with a field goal. 3 points on the board. Finally, now let's see if they can take that momentum and build from it. Only 1:33 here in the second quarter. Halftime just around the corner.
Yeah, from a psychological standpoint, you didn't want to come away with nothing 2 times in a row inside the 10. So, I mean, while it's somewhat disappointing for Oak Park, at least they've gotten the goose egg off the board, and they got to feel a little bit better about themselves. If they're at least, even if they're not feeling great, they're feeling a little bit better.
So Oak Park will kick off. Back to receive for El Segundo is Danny McEntee. And I believe number 14, James Frelick.
See, and as soon as he goes into that end zone, the referees whistle it dead. And he was only, a yard deep in the end zone, if that.
That was James Frelick who came up with that. But you're right, Diego. It looks like that is the rule here in high school at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a safety thing. So El Segundo, in a way, I mean, with 1:33, I'm wondering what Steve Shevlin is going to want to do. If I were he, I would just try to pick up 1 first down and then just run out the clock. I want to go in with that 21. I don't want to try to do anything too fancy here. I want to pick up the first down and run out the clock is what I want to do if I'm Steve Shevlin. Let's see how they handle it.
Yeah, 2 timeouts for Oak Park, 3 for El Segundo. 1st and 10 for Romero and his crew at the 20-yard line. He's got 2 receivers to the left. Romero throws a quick one to McEntee, and it's read nicely by Oak Park. First to get there was Ben Rubenfield.
Yeah, he picked up maybe 3. So it'll keep the clock running unless Oak Park burns one of their timeouts, and which they don't.
Oak Park is ready, lined up. Didn't even really huddle there on that one. There's a 2nd and 7 coming up for El Segundo. Romero under center, rolls to the right. He will take it himself. Rolling to the right, he's at the 30, the 35, at the 40. Still on his feet at the 45, finally goes out of bounds. A nice run by Matthew Romero, the junior quarterback, stopping the clock with 50 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
Well, maybe they're going to try to make something happen. And I thought Romero was going to run for the sideline, and sure enough, when he got a chance to go out of bounds, he didn't do it. He cut it back into the field. And so he's a risk taker. So far, it's all been good. And now maybe El Segundo can dream about piling on some points. Maybe if they want to. I would just run out the clock, but that's just me. I'm very conservative by nature. Maybe Steve Shevlin's more of the riverboat gambler.
A toss to Freeman this time from Romero in the backfield. He gains about a yard, and see if they mark him out of bounds. They do.
Yeah. I mean, that was the key. He had to try and get out of bounds because time is running out here. They're at 35 seconds left in the half.
35 seconds, 21-3 your score. El Segundo over Oak Park. And a timeout called here by Oak Park.
Now that's interesting. I guess they want to maybe get their defense set. Because theoretically, yeah, El Segundo could go for a play down deep down the middle of the field because El Segundo still has timeouts. So even if they get tackled in bounds after a 20 or 30-yard play down the middle of the field, they can call a timeout.
Yeah,
I mean, they got time to do something now, El Segundo. And Romero, you know, it's interesting. He made up his mind very quickly that he was going to run that ball. He didn't see what he wanted to see for the pass.
And he took off.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things when we went to practice the other day, Diego, and I talked to Coach Shevlin. He said, I think I got another Lars Newbar in my hands where he doesn't listen. When I tell him to slide and be conservative, he doesn't listen. He'll go for it. So he's a little, like you said, a risk taker. And definitely got to get that going with this young quarterback. And I'm sure also, you know, your first home game, you're the starter, full crowd here tonight to cheer on the Eagles. You want to, you know, you want to be a superstar, but with 21-3 your score and your team is winning, 30 seconds to go into halftime, maybe, you know, tone it down a little bit.
Well, he could have just run it out of bounds.
Yeah.
Because he only gained an additional maybe 3 yards out of that little cut-up field or whatever. He gained not that much yardage, and, you know, there's a risk. I mean, you are risking. But, hey, it worked out, and right now they're at the 45, and they got 35 seconds left.
2nd and 9 for Romero out of the shotgun this time. Drops back, looks, takes off. There is a flag, and Romero will get swallowed up.
Well, and he's getting swallowed up by number 70, 6'4", 260 pounds. You don't want to try. Just, you know, take your medicine there. Among the tacklers was number 70, Hunter Lee.
If Hunter Lee gets your hands around him, you're going to go down. Also plays lacrosse for Oak Park. He's a big guy. You said he's being recruited, Diego, by some D1 schools as well for football.
Yeah, Coach Webb told me that Brown University out of the Ivies, Cal State Berkeley, among others. I'm trying to remember what other schools, but those were two of the ones that he mentioned. Azusa Pacific also. Which I don't know if that's a D1. It might not be.
D2, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think he said UCSD might be interested in him as well. So he's got some interest. He's generated some interest.
And a penalty goes against El Segundo, bringing them back for.
Well, now they should
25.
just take a knee.
Yeah, just take a knee or run it.
In my opinion, in my humble opinion.
You've been here for a while. You've seen this team.
With a 21 to and they're not going to do it.
There's a toss.
They're going to run a play. And that's not happening. So now that's going to be it. That's the last play of the half.
Yeah, let this one roll out and go to the locker room. As we got about 10 seconds in this quarter, looks like that's what El Segundo's going to do. They lead 21-3 over Oak Park going into halftime. And a good game so far, an unexpected game. We thought it was going to be a little bit closer at the start of this one, Diego, but El Segundo will take a 21-3 lead going into the half. What did you like real quick about what's so far about El Segundo?
Well, their execution on offense for the most part. I mean, they were pretty darn good all the way around, you know. So let's throw it down to Tolly Anderson. She's got Coach Steve Shevlin on the sideline.
Coach, first half, how proud are you?
Really, really proud of the boys. That was a little bit unexpected. You know, we got some new guys playing, some young kids. To get out on them, they look really, really good on film. And, you know, for us to go up was fantastic. We had a little mistake down there in the end of the second half, but, you know, we didn't do too bad. So you see if we can carry it in the second half.
Exactly. How are we going to keep that momentum?
Well, we kick off to them, so we're going to have to sustain our defense is playing outstanding. So as long as our defense is playing well and we don't have special teams breakdowns, hopefully we'll be okay.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tolly. And Coach Shevlin is happy, but he's never happy until the final whistle blows, and he still have 2 quarters of football left to be played, Diego.
Long way to go in this one. So far it's been El Segundo dominating, but long way to go. Just keep it right here for the second half action.
Awesome, thank you, guys. think you left it down there on the bench. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to this El Segundo Eagles football broadcast as El Segundo takes on Oak Park at the half. The score, El Segundo 21, Oak Park 3. And an interesting game, an unpredictable game. Lots of ups and downs. But if you're an El Segundo fan, you should be happy. So far, the El Segundo Eagles have played well. Matthew Romero, the young quarterback, has done a nice job. 2 touchdowns through the air, and then a rushing touchdown by Danny McEntee, which brings their score to 21. Only a field goal for Oak Park.
And the El Segundo defense has done a great job because, you know, when that messed up punt that Oak Park blocked happened, and then Oak Park got those 2 situations where they had short yardage, the defense really stood up nicely there and held Oak Park to just the 3 points. So everybody has performed pretty well. And so it's just a matter of can they sustain it for 4 quarters, and we're about to find out.
El Segundo will receive to start the third quarter. Danny McEntee is back along with James Freilich. As Oak Park looking for a different story here in the second half. Hopefully they settle down. And then for El Segundo, hopefully they can keep the momentum that they had going for 2 more quarters. Both teams 1-0, both teams perfect. They're in the loss column. Of course, only their second game of the season, but they would like to remain perfect after this ball game. As here we go, the referee is about to blow the whistle, and we're going to start this third quarter. Again, El Segundo leading 21-3. Diego Sanchez, Egidio De Liu up here in the booth. Tolly Anderson on the sidelines. And here we go. There's the kickoff. And McEntee feels it. He's going to take off. Has some running room, has some space. Nice blocking. He is at the 50 and finally brought down at about the 46-yard line into Oak Park territory. A huge return for Danny McEntee, picking up right where he left off in the first half.
Well, McEntee's just deadly on these punt runbacks and kickoff runbacks. Oak Park would do well just to kick the ball away from him. He is a force on the runbacks, and great field position for El Segundo.
Matthew Romero, that's where they'll start off. They're at the 46-yard line, 1st and 10. Romero under center, has 2 receivers to the left, fakes the handoff, looks to throw deep, but taken down by the big guy, John Flynn, with a sack for Oak Park.
Yeah, Flynn's a big kid, 6'5", 225, a senior, and he got in there and didn't give Romero too much time to uncork a throw there. So a pretty big loss, about 6 or 7 yards. That sets El Segundo back a little bit.
2nd and 15, or they're giving him 2nd and 15. Looks like about 6 yards there for Romero. Under center, movement at the line.
Yep, and that's on El Segundo, I think. 58 from what I saw.
That's what it looked like to me also.
Yeah, and let's see if I've got him on my updated roster, and I do not.
Me neither. Looks like one of those guys. We always have one each broadcast.
Let's see. It's against El Segundo, so the great run back, but now it's kind of headed in the wrong direction so far. All the way back to the El Segundo, 43-yard line.
At the 43-yard line, that's where El Segundo takes off. 2nd and 20, Romero drops back, pitches it off to Freeman. He makes a man move, but he got just enough of Freeman. Took his helmet off to bring him down.
Minimal gain, yeah.
And that's Connor Vlasis there.
So not much of a gain. And
Actually, he's going to get called for a face mask
oh,
penalty.
okay, all right. I thought about that a little bit when I saw the helmet go flying. So that's huge.
That's big.
That's going to give El Segundo short yardage for a first down. Sometimes these are automatic first downs but it doesn't appear that they're moving the chains, so it's not going to be a first down.
It's going to be a second
and short.
Yeah, about 3 yards to go for another first down. Romero under center. Fakes the handoff, rolls to the right. Has running room. He has enough for first down. Slides, but looks dangerous.
Well, that's the good slide, though. That's what we're talking
Smart.
about. Yeah, because they were going to just unload on him there.
Had 2 Oak Park defenders in front of him. Smart with a slide. Still made a little contact.
But he picked up the yardage he needed to, and he avoided the major hit.
And that's a plus for him as a young quarterback, that poise to stay in the pocket. Right away he knows, hey, there's nothing downfield for me. I can roll out and get the first down with my legs. Great job by Romero. And a first down situation. Tosses to McEntee. Has blockers in front of him, but no good. Goes nowhere as he's taken down by Vlasis one more time. Looks like perhaps a loss of a yard or right at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, about a loss of a yard there, half a yard on that run by McEntee.
Well, the clock is running, so the clock, even though there's a ton of time left, I don't want to start focusing on the clock, but it's El Segundo's friend at this point.
Yeah, Talia Anderson has a hit for us on the sidelines. Talia?
Thanks, guys. I just talked to head coach from Oak Park, Casey Webb. He said his guys came out flat in warm-up and came out flat in the first half. I asked if he needed to change anything. He said nothing at all. Plays are great. It's a matter of those boys changing their mentality. And he has and believes that they will still execute this second half. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Talia. And a big first down catch from Romero to, I believe it was Melton. And that's going to bring El Segundo a 1st and 10 right there at the 16-yard line.
Yeah, that's a big play. They got it all the way down to the 16, and so El Segundo looking like a well-oiled machine again, despite the couple of little setbacks they had.
Romero tosses to Montani. He has 2 guys in front of him and gets taken down hard. Nice shoulder tackle by Ben Rubenfeld.
Yeah, and somebody's limping, which is not a good thing. Montani is coming away a little bit, he doesn't look so hot. I don't think we're going to see him too much the rest of today after that hit. He's hurting, so that's not a good thing. A fullback for El Segundo down.
Not a good sign. He's also a big help on defense. He plays inside linebacker for El Segundo. On 2nd and about 8, Romero under center, drops back, runs it himself, has some space, shakes off a defender, and finally gets brought down at the 5-yard line. Huge run for Matthew Romero, another first down run for the young quarterback.
And Romero is just doing it all with his feet and with his arm. He's just he's got good vision downfield in terms of running the ball.
Yeah, good decision making for such a young quarterback as 1st and goal for El Segundo. Under center, Romero fakes the handoff, keeps it himself. 3 white jerseys, 4 white jerseys now in front of him, and they pile up on top of him.
Boy, and
down Romero.
He had a receiver. I'm not sure if it was a lineman or an actual receiver, but boy, he had a man wide open in that end zone. And
yeah, I don't know if that was a designed run for him or if he just made this quick decision to take it himself.
It looked almost like a designed run, but anyway, it didn't work out. So this is a big play here. Well, no, it's 2nd down. I thought it was 3rd. Oh, 2nd down.
Yeah, 2nd and goal coming up for El Segundo. Freeman to his right. Romero throws in the end zone, intended for McEntee, but just a little overthrown over number 5.
Yeah, and he was covered, it looks like number 23, I want to say. I think. And that is Michael Hewitt, 6'3", 190. So he's much taller than McAtee, and he was pretty close to him. The throw was a little off too.
So now 3rd and goal for El Segundo. They're leading 21-3, 7 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Romero keeps it himself, a quarterback sneak. Can the big guys push him up front? Still going. There's a pile there in the goal line.
Well, now we have all kinds of extracurricular activity.
And there's flags
all over the place. And it's Mike Gonzalez involved for El Segundo.
There's
so this could hurt El Segundo if it's against El Segundo, because El Segundo was on the verge of popping that into the end zone. We'll see what the officials say, but I think Gonzalez is going to be, it might go against both teams, but it's certainly going to be Gonzalez on one of those.
Yeah, and this was cost El Segundo big there. Michael Gonzalez on the right side of the field, getting into a little pushing matchup with Oak Park.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch the numbers on the Oak Park players who were involved. It's a little tough to see their numbers, the way their uniforms are. And anyway, we'll have to see what the call is. I got a feeling this is going to be another one of those UN conferences out there. It's going to take a long time to unravel this, because there was so many shenanigans going on there that they're going to have to.
Yeah. As this crowd is riled up, Gunnar Rogers was the one getting this crowd into it, but
one of the officials, sorry, Egidio, is talking to Casey Webb there, sort of near the far sideline.
Yeah, well, first they have to also talk about, did he cross
the goal
plane?
line?
Yeah, did he cross the goal line? Was it a touchdown or not? And then they have to worry about the penalties and the pushing matchup that occurred there to the right side of the play. So, a lot to talk about between these refs.
Let's see what they say. It's a big call either way, whatever. I mean, it's just a shame that Gonzalez had to get involved in anything, because there was a chance there that El Segundo was going to score. So we'll have to see.
Wait and see here what the final decision is here in the 3rd quarter. 7 minutes, 31 seconds remaining. 21-3 your score. El Segundo with the lead and the ball, as we're waiting to see if it's a touchdown and what the penalties were, as there's Coach Shevlin.
Yeah,
he's also waiting.
He's wondering, waiting and wondering.
We had one of these also last week in the game against Lusinger, where there was a touchdown, but it wasn't signaled by the referee. Both coaches were confused. There was a little bit of a stalling going on last week as well.
Well, there's been no signal yet from the referee or from anybody.
Still talking it out here. That was on 3rd down, that run.
Yeah, no, it's a big play. I mean,
huge play.
However it turns out. And we'll have to see whether there are any ejections from the game. I mean, they may throw some players out. Who knows?
Yeah, they were tossing those flags. Every single ref that was around there threw their flag out. There's about 4 of them.
Yeah. Here come some signals. Okay.
Here we go.
Unsportsmanlike. Oak Park. Unsportsmanlike. El Segundo. Okay.
So both teams got a.
Now there's another flag. So, oh no, they're just giving each other back their
yeah,
flags.
I thought there was another one there in the end zone, but.
Well, so are they going to? Okay. He just signaled unsportsmanlike against El Segundo again. So were there 2 unsportsmanlikes against El Segundo? Because they seem to be pacing. I don't know what's going on, but in any case, I think El Segundo is going to come out on the losing end of this. I just have a feeling. I don't know. They haven't started pacing the ball off in any particular direction.
Yeah, there they go.
But here, it's against El Segundo. El Segundo is going to come out on the losing end of this one.
Yeah, they're taking the brunt out of these penalties. So it looks like it was 2 unsportsmanlike penalties on El Segundo and 1 on Oak Park.
I think so. Mm-hmm. So all the way back to the, 17-yard line? Is that where they're putting it?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yep. So, boy, that hurts, because that even might take El Segundo out of a field goal. Well, no. If they can just gain 5 yards, they're well within field goal range.
Yeah, if they can get positive yards here on this next play. But a big 3rd down, nonetheless, for El Segundo coming up. After all that, it settled down. No
Yeah, it'll be
touchdown.
interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether they go for it here and try to score 6, or whether they just go conservative and try to do a quick little slant, maybe pick up 5 or 6. But anyway, that was not good for the Eagles, that's for sure.
So 3rd and long here for El Segundo. Matthew Romero is in shotgun. Kyle Freeman to his left. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. That's Gonzalez to the right.
A lot of whistles again. I didn't
whistles.
see any flags fly, but I heard whistles blow, and everybody kind of.
It looks like Coach Shevlin is having
Oh,
a chat
he wants
with
an
the referee,
explanation.
yeah.
Sure. Well, he probably wants to know why El Segundo got hit with 2 penalties and they got hit with 1. Maybe, I don't want to speculate because I really have no idea. But there were a lot of shenanigans going on in that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, hard to say from up here. We couldn't get a replay to go back and look into that, but we'll go with the referee's word, and it will stand 3rd.
No, they're saying 4th. So they're saying that the play counts. They didn't get a touchdown, and the 2 unsportsmanlikes.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're saying it's 4th.
So now they changed it. Yeah, they changed it to 4th down. So they lost it down there.
They lost. So they're going to go for a field goal, and it looks like Villalobos is lining up at around the 24. So it's a 34-yard field goal, it looks like. Attempt.
So perhaps that's what Coach Shevlin was trying to get, because he had his offense out there. He thought it was 3rd down as well. But here's the kicking team, the field goal unit, looking to add 3 more for about a 34-yard field goal. There's the hole by Romero. The kick by Villalobos.
No way.
Short.
No way. Not even close. Was it partially blocked?
It looked like it was blocked.
Because 11 got in there. Devin Bonney got in there, or he was sort of in the back. Well, anyway, it just.
Yeah, Oak Park was in there and got a piece of it.
I think they got a piece of it because usually Villalobos is a better kicker than that, I think. Yes. Anyway, that did not work out. The only good thing, if you're an El Segundo fan, is that almost 5 minutes went off the clock, but that doesn't really, it's not much solace if you're an El Segundo fan.
There's a turnover on downs now, and Oak Park will take over there at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 for McCrary out of the shotgun. Hands off to Hardy. Has some room down the middle. Nice gain for about 6 yards.
So some mistakes starting to creep in, and they're of the penalty variety, which I remember last year there was a lot of that. And because El Segundo was winning by big margins, it didn't affect them much. And they're winning by a pretty big margin here, so we'll see if it affects them or not. But this isn't a complete blowout by any stretch.
Yeah, still a lot of football to be played. Still a manageable score here if you're Oak Park. Down 21-3 on 2nd and about 4. McCrary throws and complete to Michael Hewitt for a short gain. Almost actually a 1st down. Close to it, about 2 yards shy of the 1st down. So about a 2-yard gain on that one is going to bring 3rd down and 2 for Oak Park.
Well, this is a big play because Oak Park really needs to keep the ball here if they want to mount a credible comeback.
Yeah, McCrary and his crew definitely need to convert on this one. Looked like they were trying to get
the offsides.
Offsides there, the encroachment on the defense. It didn't work. And perhaps an audible from McCrary as he talked to some of his receivers there. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff to Hardy, throws, connects for a 1st down, and taken down by Villalobos. Who was that on the catch there? It looks like 22, Michael Holcomb, gaining the 1st down for Oak Park.
So they run a good play and they keep the ball. They move the chains, but good defense also by El Segundo to not let that turn into a catch and run. It was Holcomb was brought down immediately by Villalobos.
Yeah, great job by Tyler Villalobos. Does a great job on defense as well as the kicker for this team over the last 2 years. On varsity. Oh, bad snap. McCrary can't hang on. Finally gets it and gets taken down. The first guy there, Sean Lyon, the senior defensive end, breaking through. Well, that's a big loss.
Yeah, that's a big loss for Oak Park there because it's going to set up its very uncomfortable sort of 2nd and 19 or 2nd and 18.
Yeah, long 2nd down coming up for Oak Park and McCrary. Bad center to quarterback connection there. McCrary out of the shotgun now for the 2nd and 18. Another bad snap. McCrary does hang on to it, though. Throws it and incomplete. Intended for Nick Cantina. And it's going to bring up 3rd and 18. And back-to-back mishaps from the center to the quarterback.
And that happened in week 0 for Oak Park, because I'm just looking at my notes. And I'm almost sure that there were some problems with the snaps. Center making a lot of low snaps in shotgun, making it difficult for QB. That's in my notes.
The connect there.
So, from week 0.
And an incompletion. Hunter Lynch on the coverage, but there's flags all around him. Perhaps a pass interference should be called here on Hunter Lynch. We'll see. He had a nice tight coverage. You said also earlier, though, that Hunter Lynch.
They're calling pass interference on the Eagles, on the El Segundo team.
And the crowd does not like it.
The crowd is going nuts. That's going to give, well, it doesn't give them a first down because they had lost so much yardage on that messed up snap. So it's interesting. All of a sudden, the snaps got a little erratic there. One was high, one was low. It sets up a 3rd down, but much more manageable now.
Yeah, very manageable 3rd down. It's about 3rd and 4 here, 3rd and 3 for Oak Park. With McCrary, he has 2 receivers to his left, 1 to the right. McCrary takes the snap out of the shotgun, fakes the handoff, throws to a wide open receiver, but
he dropped it. Yeah,
by
he dropped
it.
It was a little high, but it was catchable, I thought.
Yeah, he should have hung on to that one. He had his hands on the ball. You got to bring that down. That's a manageable catch.
And this is going to be an interesting call here for Coach Casey Webb, because you're kind of not wanting to give up the ball here on downs, because you're going to give El Segundo great field position, but you are down, 21-3, and you're more than halfway through the 3rd quarter, so he's going to go for it, I guess.
21-3, 4 minutes and 44 seconds in the 3rd. 4th and 3 for Oak Park, perhaps looking to get the defense to jump once again. An audible call by McCrary. And 4 yards to go. Another bad snap. McCrary hangs on as his receiver fell down. Did he manage to catch it? And he did. A great catch by Michael Hewitt for the 1st down.
Yep, that was a great play. They get it up to midfield, the pickup of 8. So big time play there to keep this drive alive.
The senior receiver kind of fell there, but still managed to catch the ball. And they're going fast-paced offense now. McCrary, 1st and 10 out of the shotgun. Hands off to Hardy. And Hardy goes nowhere. Taken down by Bailey Greenberg, the first guy, along with Alex Ron, Sean Lyon, and a few other El Segundo defenders on the tackle.
Tim Schartz was in there as well. Good defense by the Eagles. No gain there. And the clock is running. Under 4 minutes now left in the 3rd.
2nd and 10. 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. 21-3 your score. El Segundo on top. The snap to McCrary. He throws. He's going to go deep down the sidelines. Is it caught? No good. Incomplete. Great coverage by Freeman and Lynch.
Yeah, I think the receiver caught it, but he was out of bounds. I couldn't quite see the.
Yeah, from up here.
Yeah, but in any case, it's well covered. And now it brings up a 3rd and 10 from midfield, and this is a big moment for the El Segundo defense.
And a big moment for the Oak Park offense here on 3rd and 10 at the 50. Down 21-3 with 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. McCrary going backwards, looks down the middle, a little high for his intended receiver, and incomplete. Is going to bring up 4th down. Nick Cantilla just a little over his head. He's only 5'5", and he's listed as 5'5", so realistically he's probably like 5'3". They usually add a few inches there to the stat sheet.
He was looking for Joseph Noah, but he overthrew him.
Yeah, a little bit over his
now
head.
I guess they're punting.
There's the punt.
Bad snap. And he got a kick away, and it's taking an Oak Park bounce.
It was a low snap, hit the ground, and then a bad kick. Didn't go very far.
Well, El Segundo's defense certainly did what they needed to do there, and that chewed up time, that whole thing, and the whole sort of fizzled drive and did not draw points for Oak Park. So El Segundo's got to be feeling good about that. Their defense has played, pretty well. I like the way the secondary's playing for the most part. And they're just doing enough good things to keep Oak Park from really sustaining anything.
Yeah, great job by this defense and great job by the defensive coordinator, Dan Heck, for El Segundo. Now the offense for the El Segundo Eagles will take over 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. Romero out of the shotgun. He hands off. It looks like that's Kyle Freeman on the carry. It looked like he got the first down. They're going to move the chains.
Yeah, that's a big first down run there, just to kind of get them in better field position, keep the chains moving, keep the clock running. That's a big 11 yards there.
Follow your offensive line. So 1st and 10. Romero again to Freeman. He goes up the middle, bounces off some tacklers, and a short gain of about 3 yards on the carry for Freeman, who has 2 receiving touchdowns tonight from Romero.
He's having a good night. 6'1", 185-pound senior, doing it all. And that moves the ball beyond the 40 for El Segundo. Approaching midfield, slowly but surely.
2 minutes and 39 seconds here in the third quarter. El Segundo 21-3 over Oak Park. A 2nd and 7 for Romero out of the shotgun. Has 2 receivers to his right, rolls to his right, looks downfield, intended for Bonnie, but a little overthrown. Anyways, he had 2 defenders covering him.
Yeah, I'm not sure, if Romero saw the double coverage and then just overthrew it on purpose, or whether the throw just got away from him, or what happened. But at any rate, the receiver, like you mentioned, was double covered. So good, Oak Park, has sniffed it out now. I mean, they've done this kind of controlled little rollout with Romero a few times, and that time Oak Park had it diagnosed.
3rd and 7 for El Segundo and Romero. Again out of the shotgun, has Freeman to his left. Romero looks deep downfield to Bonnie. Intercepted, yes it is. Nick Cantina with the INT. And a turnover, a huge turnover for El Segundo.
Well, he underthrew it. It was just underthrown a little bit.
Yeah, it was underthrown right in the hands of the defender. But a huge momentum swing for Oak Park right there, coming up with the football with 2 minutes and 16 seconds. A big INT from Romero to give Oak Park the ball. And the offense back for the black and gold Eagles.
Well, it's a question of whether Oak Park can capitalize. I mean, heck, they had the ball twice inside the 10. A couple of times, they had one ball at the 3 and they couldn't do anything with it. So we'll see. The only thing is that, the El Segundo defense has to head right back out on the field, and that's a big minus. You wanted to keep them resting for a little bit longer.
On first down, a completion. That's Michael Hewitt.
Villalobos was right on that, but a pickup of about 4.
And a nice quick pass from McCrary to Hewitt. And there's Villalobos doing a great job on defense tonight. It's going to bring up 2nd and 6 for Oak Park. And they're about at the 43-yard line. Oh, difference at quarterback now for Oak Park. John Flynn with the pass.
They've gone to number 10, Flynn. Interesting.
So that's Flynn to Correa, Zach Correa with the catch. And trying to switch it up.
He's a big kid, this Flynn. 6'5", 225. Big kid. Plays defensive end sometimes. Interesting that they've gone this way. Maybe they think he's got more arm strength or something. They can go downfield more. Interesting. I'm not sure. But anyway, they've made the switch. Looks like they're sticking with Flynn right now over McCreary.
Yeah, the big guy, John Flynn, out of the shotgun, now has 3rd and 5 coming up. Takes the snap, looks, an incomplete. That one intended for Hardy. Sorry, that was Connor Vlasis, the intended receiver.
And there was an issue with the snap again. It looked like he was having a little trouble kind of controlling it, Flynn was. And that extra second that he had to fumble with it and get it under control cost him, because then he was rushing the throw, and it just threw the whole play out of time.
No, you're right, Diego. I've noticed in a few plays, actually, for Oak Park, that ball has been snapped to the left side of the quarterback where they've had to adjust, but that quick second when you're adjusting can cost you.
Well, now it's 4th down, and they were going to go for it, and El Segundo doesn't like what it sees in terms of maybe what they've got on the field personnel-wise. They wanted to talk it over, so timeout, El Segundo.
First timeout of the second half for the El Segundo Eagles. With 59 seconds here in the third quarter, the El Segundo Eagles lead 21-3 over Oak Park. Oak Park has a 4th and 5 coming up, and they have a new quarterback in John Flynn under center.
Well, it's interesting. In that game that I witnessed up in Oak Park, they hardly used Flynn at all. I mean, it was weird. They used him like for the first snap of the game or something, and then that was it. They pulled him after like one play, and then I never saw him again. It was the strangest thing, and I meant to ask Coach Webb what that was all about, and I didn't do it, which I regret now, because I don't know what his philosophy is about using this kid. When does he use him? Why does he use him? But obviously, with only having scored 3 points in the game, maybe he felt, hey, we got to change it up and do something to try and get more points on the board and get back in this thing. Because right now, the third quarter is almost gone. There's a minute left, basically, in the third, and the score has stayed the same, 21-3, and that doesn't serve Oak Park at all. It serves El Segundo, obviously.
Let's see if the Oak Park offense can turn things around here. They have a crucial 4th and 5 at about the 43-yard line, 44-yard line. And Flynn still staying at quarterback, out of the shotgun, has 2 backs behind him. Takes the snap, fakes the handoff, but gets hit right away. Finally gets the ball off his hands. It's going to be, are they calling it a dead ball? Yes, it is. Incomplete. So that will not count what you see on your screen there.
Well, it's interesting because it was sort of like a little screen, I guess, is what they were trying to set up. But the ball, it didn't look like a forward pass to me. But anyway, the officials called whatever they called. At any rate, it's a huge plus for El Segundo because they take the ball over on downs in great field position. This is with a big lead, and so they just got to grind some clock. They're looking to grind some clock now, and obviously one more score and the game is over. So it's a balance. Do they want to grind some clock, or do they want to, go for the jugular? And it'll be interesting to see what they do.
50 seconds here in the third quarter. 1st and 10 for Romero in El Segundo. Takes the snap, drops back, goes down deep. He has Bonnie wide open, and he's going the end zone. Touchdown, El Segundo.
Well, there's the answer. I guess they were going for the jugular.
You called it, Diego. Devin Bonnie, the senior, with an impressive touchdown catch. Beat the defense on that run, wide open, and then walked it in the end zone for the easy score. 27-3, El Segundo with 42 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
There you see number 11, Bonnie. He had a touchdown in that game against Lusinger. Four receptions for 78 yards in that game and 1 TD. And this is a big, big, big play because it basically salts the game away for El Segundo, in my view. I mean, I don't think there's any way Oak Park is coming back now. And I'm surprised at how dominant El Segundo has been. And kudos to the El Segundo Eagles because they have dominated this game for the most part, and certainly on the scoreboard completely. I mean, there was a moment there. Now there you have a El Segundo band celebrating. We had a Oak Park player being helped off the field. He looked like he cramped up. There he is. Let's see what the number is. I couldn't tell. Was it Holcomb? Okay, 22. Okay, so he's coming out. So El Segundo now 27-3, looking to tack on one more point, the extra point. But I don't see Oak Park scoring 25 points in one quarter.
Yeah, third touchdown through the air for Romero. The second touchdown catch by Bonnie of the season for him. He had, like you mentioned, Diego, one last week, one tonight.
And that was a nice throw. Romero did not underthrow by any stretch. He just stepped up, aired it out, and it was perfect.
Perfect, right in the hands of Bonnie, who had beaten the defenders, both defenders.
Yeah, the defenders kind of made the cardinal error of letting him.
There's Villalobos with the kick, and it's good. 28-3, your score with 42 seconds remaining in the third quarter. El Segundo on top.
I was going to say the defenders made the cardinal mistake of letting the receiver get behind him, and once he caught it in stride, it was Katie bar the door. He was gone. So great throw by Romero, and El Segundo there basically broke the backs of this Oak Park team. And now I would be very surprised to see this even become remotely close, this game. I don't think so. I think it's going to be sort of a laugher for the rest of the. And you got to, and there you have it.
There's
some smiles,
yeah.
some smiles on the sideline. You got to think that they'll probably run the ball a little bit more now, El Segundo, and try to just tick the seconds away. And we'll have to see what reaction, if any, Oak Park can offer.
And the ball goes off the hands of an Oak Park receiver. That's Hardy there. It takes it, though. Does a nice return all the way up to about the 18-yard line.
And it's interesting, behind the play, there was almost some shenanigans. But
there's flags right there, Diego. 2 flags coming out now.
Well, that was not what I had been looking at, but maybe something happened there as well. I was looking way back behind the play, but obviously, for sure there's got to be some frustration going on down on the field from the Oak Park side. I don't know what happened in this particular instance. We'll see what the call is.
Yeah, I'm sure someone said something or pushed something. It looked like it was in that pile there towards the end that definitely the penalties came after the whistle. So
it looked like Steve Shevlin was upset at the explanation, so it's going to go against El Segundo. Mm-hmm. And so he's probably going to yell at his sideline a little bit, hey, guys, let's get it under control and cut this out. We do not want to give them life. And I can see him yelling at his kids on the sideline. I'm sure that's what he's yelling about.
Oh, yeah, definitely don't want to give you want to wrap this one up as.
And that defense is maintaining its fantastic play. And now we got more flags.
More flags and more.
But there was no gain on the play as the defensive line stood up nicely there.
That was Hardy on the carry.
I did not see what happened, but there was a flag. And this is unfortunate, if it's against El Segundo, which, and I'm not saying this is because I have no idea who this is against, but the El Segundo side just has to calm down and say, okay, we have basically outplayed these guys. We've won this game. We cannot let and it is against El Segundo.
Yeah,
Did you see the call? What was it? I
missed that one.
Okay. Well, it's against El Segundo, and it looks like it's a long one, so it's another 15 yards. And so by doing this, the Eagles are giving them free yards and no time running off the clock. So if I'm Coach Shevlin, I call timeout, and I gather everybody around. I say, cut it out right now, guys. We've got this game under control. Do not do anything that's going to give this team life. Get yourselves under control.
Yeah, you got that last touchdown there. That's great. Pretty much the final nail in the coffin there. But now these penalties, you're giving away free yards that are unnecessary with 23 seconds still in the third quarter.
Yeah. No, they've given away about 30 yards right here.
Yeah, now they're almost at where they are at the 49-yard line, now in El Segundo territory. That's where Flynn takes over on first down, drops back, throws, and connects with his receiver, Zachariah, with a nice gain. And close to another first down. It's going to be a second and short, or are they now marking it a first down?
It's close.
Very close.
He's saying it's first down, so they're moving the chains.
So Correa with the first down catch, moving the chains. Flynn again staying at quarterback. 8 seconds remaining in the third. Takes the snap, looks to his right, connects, but no, out of the hands of his receiver.
Yeah.
That's Correa again dropping this one.
Yeah, you should have had that one.
That stops the clock with 2.9 seconds, bringing up second down for Oak Park. Second and 10 with 2.9 seconds. 28-3 your score. El Segundo on top. Oak Park driving a low snap. Flynn takes it, throws to his right side, has an open receiver, intercepted. Hunter Lynch with a big interception to seal up this third quarter. Huge defensive play from Hunter Lynch.
And the late flag again, so we'll see who that's against. But anyway, it's going to be El Segundo ball. There's no issue about that. So that's a huge play. And, again, the snap was a little off. I mean, the quarterback, Flynn, had a little trouble handling it just momentarily, but you got to believe it probably frazzles him a little bit, and then he makes the throw. And we mentioned earlier the best, well, not the best, but let's just say the most experienced part of the El Segundo defense is that secondary, and right there it came up big.
Yeah, that penalty does go against El Segundo, but it will be Eagles football as we end the third quarter. Your score, El Segundo 28-3 over Oak Park as we begin the fourth quarter. And you're right, Diego, the secondary is the most experienced part because this El Segundo team lost their starting defensive line last year to graduation and their starting linebackers. So now you have the secondary that you return some of those guys, Villalobos, Hunter Lynch, Danny McEntee also played a little bit of cornerback last year. So those are the guys you have to rely on as your defensive captains on the field.
And they're seniors in that secondary, so they know, what's going on. And the Flynn, he threw it kind of high. It had a lot of arc, so there was some time there for the secondary, for Lynch to kind of adjust to the throw, and he just made a play. He made a play, and now El Segundo, unfortunately, is going to start in terrible field position because of the penalty, and they got to just stop with the trash talking or whatever they're doing. I don't know what they're doing, but it's unsportsmanlike conduct again, I think, or some sort of, because it's 15. It was. Well, no, it's not as bad as I thought. They're at the 7, but anyway, they from almost no penalties in the first half to a lot of penalties in the second half, and that's something that they're going to have to work on and change.
Yeah, you got to calm down. I know you're leading by big here, 28-3 over a team that you really want to beat, and you want to go. You're almost 2-0, but again, you got to maintain your cool until the final whistle blows. You cannot have these unnecessary penalties, and they're coming after the whistle, most of them, Diego, so they are unsportsmanlike because of trash talking or pushing after the play ends. Let's see if the fourth quarter they trim those down. It'll be 1st and 10 for Romero and the El Segundo Eagles at the 7-yard line to start the fourth quarter. El Segundo up 28-3. Here's the snap, a little high, handed off to Freeman, makes some nice moves, going to the right side, and close to another first down, a 9-yard gain on that run.
And they should keep it on the ground, obviously, chew up the clock, which it looks like they're going to do. The interesting thing is, when do you pull Romero? I mean, they don't have a real great option as their backup because he's a small kid and he's only a sophomore, Nick Villa. But maybe you give him a few snaps and get Romero out of there, but they won't do it just yet.
There's the handoff again to Freeman on 2nd and short. And he definitely got that, a gain of about 3 yards on that play.
Yeah, he got the first down. It's all about just keeping the chains moving, keeping the ball on the ground for the most part, and chewing up the clock for the Eagles. For the El Segundo Eagles, I should say.
Battle of the Eagles here tonight between these two schools. And smart going with Kyle Freeman also, a little bit bigger of the back between him and Danny McEntee. Freeman's listed at 6'1", 185. McEntee's 5'10", 155.
Although they did correct him. They gave him 10 more pounds on the updated roster.
You're right.
He's up to 165.
Some big meals this week as Freeman breaks off a tackle. He is going open space and finally brought down at the 45-yard line into Oak Park territory. Kyle Freeman, the senior, with a huge burst for a huge run.
Yeah, 45-yard scamper there, and you kind of feel, the fact that the Oak Park side has had the wind taken out of their sails completely. So they're kind of collapsing a little bit on defense and not playing with the same intensity, and El Segundo's taking it to them right now.
Yeah, the air is taken out of the tires for the Oak Park machine here as they're down 28-3. A little movement by the defensive line, and there's the whistles. It's going to be encroachment on the defense unless the O-line moved. I don't think so from what we have observed up here.
So it could be an easy 5 yards for the El Segundo side. That's what it is.
Yeah, 5 yards for the El Segundo Eagles. A gift from the Oak Park Eagles there, and it's going to bring up first down and 5 for Romero and his crew. Romero having a great night. 3 touchdowns with 1 interception. Play action there, rolls to the right, has a man open, incomplete. Gonzalez, the intended receiver.
Yeah, that little design rollout is a play they like to run. And I think we've got Tolly Anderson on the sidelines with a report.
Thanks, guys. That sideline seemed quiet coming out of that half until tight end Devin Bonney scored. And then again, Hunter Lynch with that big interception. These guys are truly showing their confidence and brotherhood tonight. It seemed to have a lot of encouragement for one another. Check back with you guys at the end of the game.
Thanks, Tolly.
So 2nd and 5 coming up for Romero at the 40 now into Oak Park territory. Hands off to Freeman, has some room right up the middle, makes a nice spin move, and a huge gain once again for Kyle Freeman, moving the chains and bursting through the defense for another first down.
Yeah, Freeman is piling up the yards now in this drive. He's got probably about, 65 yards on this drive alone, rushing.
2 receiving touchdowns for Freeman also on the night, and a few tackles as well to go along with it.
So a huge night for Kyle Freeman.
1st and 10 for Romero. Split backs, he's out of the shotgun. Ball at the 30, hands off again to guess who? Kyle Freeman. This time only a gain of about 2, maybe 3 yards there.
Yeah, Keith Mowat got him pretty quickly, so not much of a gain, but really what the Eagles just want to do here is just grind down the clock, and they're doing that.
9:14 and counting in the 4th quarter. 28-3 your score. Still El Segundo has led throughout this whole game. They were the first ones to score and have not looked back, have not trailed in this ball game, as a 2nd and 9 situation for Romero. Hands off this time to McEntee, makes some nice moves, slices up the defense, still on his feet, still going, and finally brought down by a pack of Oak Park Eagles, but enough for another El Segundo first down.
Yeah, it was about a 10-yard gain there, more or less. And McAtee refused to go down. I cringe a little bit watching that because I just wonder, oh God, you cannot have any of these guys get injured because one of the things about El Segundo is that they're just not that deep. They have some quality players, but it happens a lot of years that they end up getting some of these guys injured, and then like Taz Tuesi in past years, for example. Then it just hurts them so much, So at this point, you wonder if Coach Shevlin will pull his starters. Like, let's say they score whatever on this drive, anything, 3 points even. I mean, it's out of reach. They're not going to catch up.
Well, it's a great point. Last year, that playoff game in the quarterfinals against Golden Valley up in Santa Clarita, if the team was healthy, that would have been a whole different playoff game. They had 7 guys out due to injury, Taz Tuesi being one of them, one of the key guys that was out in that playoff game. But if that team was healthy, they could have gone far and much deeper than they did in the playoffs last year. So over the last few years, even that year with Lars Newbar, when he got hurt in the playoffs, they were pretty much.
He was the heart and soul.
Yeah. So,
But in that instance, it was sort of like, it was just one of those things. He got hurt in that playoff game, right? I didn't witness it.
Yeah, it was a playoff game, against Simi Valley 3 years ago now, I believe it was.
Yeah.
It was my first year here at El Segundo.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, here we go. 1st and 10 for Romero and his crew at about the 19-yard line. Hands off to McEntee.
That was a busted play.
Yeah, right away.
Yeah, he sort of bumped into his own man. Was that a lineman? Anyway, it just didn't develop correctly for the Eagles, that play.
Yeah, loss of a yard there on that run. It'll be 2nd and 11 coming up.
Looks like it's at the Oak Park 19.
And Romero doing a good job managing this offense. Only his second game starting at the varsity level for Romero. Did a great job at JV over the last few years. Hands off to Freeman there on second down, and Freeman right up the middle. They just can't stop him on that run.
Yeah, he picked up some big yards there, 6 or 7 yards up the middle.
And Freeman was a big part of that defense last year, but he's very impressive as a running back this year. They didn't really use him on offense last season. Pretty much played exclusively on defense, but is doing a great job so far in these 2 games this young season. So 3rd and about 6 for El Segundo. Romero out of the shotgun, 2 receivers that's McEntee to the left. Looks that way, looks to McEntee in the end zone. It is caught for a touchdown. Danny McEntee, the catch from Matthew Romero, and that perhaps is the final blow to Oak Park here tonight.
Well, he beat number 23, Michael Hewitt, who is one of the kind of the stars of Oak Park, a 6'3", 190-pound senior. And it was just too quick. McEntee's quick. And they knew where they were going with that ball, and he delivered it beautifully. McEntee was there, and icing on the cake, as they say.
And there's the PAT by Villalobos, and another great job done by him. It's now 35-3 with 7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the ball game. McEntee so elusive, beat the defender right off the snap, was in the end zone with enough space, and a great job by Romero putting the ball perfectly in McEntee's hand.
Yeah, good throw. Very good throw. And game over. It was already over. I mean, let's face it. They weren't going to catch up anyway. But very impressive. Very impressive home opener here by El Segundo, as they have completely dominated this Oak Park side. And the big difference is, I want to say it's in the quarterback play. I mean, they replaced their quarterback 3/4 of the way through the game because he wasn't getting it done, whereas El Segundo's Romero has, for the most part, been perfect. I mean, yeah, he threw an interception, but
nothing that cost him.
Nothing that cost him horrendously. I mean, there was the blocked punt, but is that his fault? I don't know. Maybe that's just a play that they're going to have to get rid of and just go to a more traditional punting formation. But I don't know. There must be a logic as to why they're doing it that way, but it's hurt them a little bit early. It hasn't cost them any games or anything, but they're going to have to review that and what's going wrong there. But very little has gone wrong tonight for El Segundo, and it's reflected in the scoreboard. I mean, 35-3. It's a blowout at this point. And there's Coach Shevlin reveling in his victory. He's got a big, wide smile. He's got to be happy with his team's performance.
Yeah, there's Oak Park. McCrary now back at quarterback for Oak Park. Hands it off to Hardy, and he gets a huge run to the left side for a first down. And Oak Park now perhaps just getting some more practice in and just trying to add to their stats, because this ball game is out of reach with 6:59 remaining.
There's Romero on the sideline looking up into the stands, perhaps trying to find some. He's feeling good.
All smiles, a great night. And there's Gunnar Rogers photobombing him a little bit. All league tackle.
Gunnar's mom was tasked with selling some of the El Segundo Eagle football shopping bags, which I picked up one near the entrance to tonight's game. Just trying to raise some funds for the squad.
Here's McCrary again now. With a whistle. He's going to blow this play dead.
And I think the arm strength is also a difference. I mean, Romero's bigger, 6'2", 195. McCreary's 5'11", 150. And you could see a little bit of the difference in the arm strength.
And there, McCreary connects.
I think that's Hewitt. Yeah, that's Hewitt. That's the kid that got beat on that play into the corner of the end zone where McAtee's just scored.
I think you're right, Diego. The arm strength of McCreary, you can see when he kind of goes in that throwing motion, it looks like he's tossing like a heavy rock. Like it's not a smooth motion. If you watch Romero, it glides out of his hands perfectly. And I think you're right. That's been the difference here tonight between the two quarterbacks, both juniors, but one playing better than the other. A first down, though, nice completion by McCreary there. First down to Hewitt.
And
moving the chains.
And Romero has also offered that running capability that he's shown. And the size makes a difference there too, because he's just tougher to bring down, and and he just seems to. Well, he obviously seems to have more of the mentality that he wants to take off and run with it, which whatever, good and bad, mostly good tonight. It's worked out nicely.
Again, McCreary handing off out of the shotgun for a short gain from his running back. See who comes out of the pile there. I didn't see who the ball carrier was. That's number.
I think it's 7. Vlasis?
Yeah, Vlasis.
Might have been Vlasis.
Carrying the load now for the Oak Park Eagles, it looks like.
5'11", 185-pound junior. He was on JV last year.
In a second and about 7 for Oak Park. McCreary pump fakes, throws, and almost again intercepted by McEntee, who had his receiver well covered.
And there's the experience in that secondary. I mean, they know, that they've got to go deep. I mean, so they're all over these receivers as they go downfield because is there a flag? No.
But also I was going to say that what we were just talking about, the arm strength of McCreary, barely getting it to his receiver. Not just a nice job done by the coverage there by McEntee, but the arm strength wasn't there. The throw was not there. We'll bring up 3rd and 6 for McCreary. Hands off, a draw to Hardy this time. And he'll be a few yards short of the first down.
Yeah, they picked up maybe 8, I don't know, a couple of yards short. But they got to go for it, obviously. 4th down, they're going to go for it.
5 minutes and 33 seconds and counting here as the clock keeps on moving in the ball game. 35-3, El Segundo with the lead. Never trailed in this ball game. McCreary on 4th and short, looking to get.
Well, they weren't lined up yet.
Yeah, they're looking to get this.
They wanted to get the
defense offside. Oh, well, misread there. A keeper by McCreary and gets the first down himself.
There's a little run from McCreary. That's the first one that I can remember of any consequence. And did a nice job of spin out of a tackle there, out of a potential tackle.
Nice job.
Picked up the first down.
Nice job with the fake there. McCreary got him. Well, he ran pretty well in the Peninsula game. 11 carries, 54 yards, but a different defense here in El Segundo.
Yeah, it's been fiercer, the defense.
Yeah, that Panthers defense there. They're in a rebuilding mode up in that area. Oh, pressure there by Almerald, I believe it was. But still made the throw, and he's not going anywhere. Vasilla with the catch. Hounded down by the El Segundo defense.
Yeah, the defenders on that play, let me see if I've got the correct, 15 was one of them. Dylan Phillips was in there. So a big loss on that play. He did well just to get rid of the ball, McCreary, but El Segundo had it sniffed out completely all around, so a loss. And we're approaching just 4 minutes left in the game. So time running out rapidly on Oak Park here.
2nd and long with 4 minutes here in the 4th quarter. McCreary looks to his right side, connects with Cantina, and he goes out of bounds. Gets some of that yardage back.
Well, to Oak Park's credit, they're still competing and trying to get some points here as the clock runs down. They picked up pretty good yardage there.
Yeah, about a 10-yard gain on that throw from McCreary. And now will be 3rd and 5 for Oak Park. 3:55 remaining. Oak Park is at the 35-yard line. McCreary has 4 receivers, 2 to the left, 2 to the right. A back behind him. Gives it to the running back, Vasias, and he goes straight up the middle, enough for a first down run.
Yeah, he was brought down at the end of the play there. Rhett Putnam, a junior. We haven't called his name very much. So some players getting into the action for El Segundo now that normally may not see much playing time, but in a game that's decided in El Segundo's favor, it's a good decision by Coach Shevlin to just get some of his reserves in there.
1st and 10 at the 30. Wide open receiver, that's Hewitt.
Villalobos.
Cantania with the catch.
Villalobos on the tackle. They're moving the ball. They're getting it downfield. But, you know, with the score the way it is, 35-3, it's not going to make a difference to the ultimate outcome of this one.
Yeah, a little too late.
Little too late, yeah.
In this ball game.
El Segundo's defense has been good. Has been good in this game.
Yeah, losing all those guys to graduation last year, they've done a great job picking up the next man up mentality. There's McCreary on 2nd down. Tosses to his running back, Hardy. Goes forward for a few yards. It should be a gain of about 3 there.
Yeah, he's a little shy of the first down still. Maybe 3 yards shy of the first down. Obviously, you know, it's 4 down territory, so they got 2 plays to make these 3 yards. Let's see if they can do it. El Segundo looking to put a stop to this drive.
A 3rd and short for Oak Park. A little over 2 minutes remaining. And Oak Park goes right up the middle.
That's not going to get it. Well, they got something, but not enough. It's going to be 4th and probably 1.5 or something. I think they got a little something. No, they're not moving the chain.
Yeah, they're not giving them.
They're not giving him much of anything.
The refs are not generous tonight.
No, they didn't give him much. No, they didn't give him anything, actually. Okay, so 4th down. Let's see.
And you'd have to go for it here.
Oh, sure.
A minute 40 and counting.
Why not?
Again, this is just more practice, more reps.
Yeah, and you want to try and get a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Especially for the confidence of these young guys. As McCreary out of the shotgun.
Oh,
messes up. Hits Hardy there, but
yeah,
got the handoff.
The handoff was messed up. Somehow they didn't get it.
Good job by the defense stopping Oak Park on 4th down, and a turnover on downs. The minute 20. El Segundo will get the ball back and pretty much wrap this one up and advance to 2-0.
I mean, that last play almost is kind of an encapsulation of everything that went wrong. I mean, they just were not in sync offensively at any point tonight, really. I mean, when they were close to scoring a touchdown, it was because of El Segundo mistakes, you know, the muff punt or the block punt, and then they fumbled. But they never got it down there on their own, really, in terms of driving the ball down that deep. They drove the ball here and there. They just couldn't sustain it for long periods of time. And they needed to because they could never connect on long throws.
Yeah, I think that play right there sums up this game for Oak Park, as Gunnar Rogers having a few words with his teammates, happy about this win.
So that's going to do it. They're going to take a knee and take another knee if Oak Park takes a timeout, which I wouldn't do if I were them, because so what if they stop the clock? I mean, they're never going to, you know, with a 32-point difference, it doesn't make any difference. So they're wisely just letting it run off. So a very convincing win here for the El Segundo Eagles on opening weekend at home. They're going to go to 2-0. And
there's a second knee, which will wrap this game up.
So El Segundo's got to be feeling good about this going into next week's tilt against, you know, a team that's kind of got a reputation as being sort of a powerhouse in this area, Miracosta. I mean, I don't know how strong or weak they are this year, but they typically field a pretty strong team.
Yeah, they're going to bring a lot of guys back from that team last year. But these are two good tune-up games for El Segundo. 2-0. That's great for a team that's young, a team that lost 27 seniors last year. El Segundo victorious 35-3 over Oak Park High School right here on El Segundo TV. A good matchup and a good tune-up matchup before the big game next week, Diego, against the South Bay rival Miracosta. And the Mustangs will definitely show up to play, and so will the Eagles. We'll have that game for you right here on El Segundo TV. So definitely don't miss it. A great job all around by this team. Great job by Matthew Romero in the second start as the varsity quarterback. Great job by Danny McEntee. A great job by Kyle Freeman with those 2 receiving touchdowns. Gunnar Rogers, there you see him leading the pack through the tunnel of cheerleaders. He did a great job on defense and on the offensive line. And a great team victory for this young squad, advancing to 2-0. Oak Park drops to 1-1 on the season. And we'll have Talia with Coach Shevlin here in just a few minutes to get his thoughts on this victory.
Well, it was a very complete victory. They played good defense. They moved the ball well on offense. Really, the only thing that you could maybe point to as a minus on El Segundo's side were a few too many penalties on the second half when they kind of had the game in hand, but still you don't want to see that. Couple of turnovers, but that happens with a young team sometimes. They had the 1 INT and the fumble, but other than that, pretty flawless execution on offense. They really move the ball well, and I've been impressed at how they've done that in both the games, the one against Lusinger and the one tonight. So we'll see if they can just keep that going against a real tough team in Miracosta next week. That's going to be a real test because Miracosta is a big school. They get a big turnout for football. I talked very briefly with Coach Heck about it, and the only thing he said, gosh, it doesn't seem like they have guys that are as big this year as some other years. He said, I looked at their line, and he said, God, a lot of times I would look at their line, and you would have these, 6'4", 6'5", 250, 260 guys. And this year, they're big, but they're like 6 foot, 225. I mean, to me, that's a monster. But yeah. In football, whatever, So Coach Heck felt, I guess, from a statistical viewpoint, just looking at the roster, encouraged by the fact that Miracosta was not as ginormous as they have been at times. So we'll see. I mean, they're going to be deeper because they're just a bigger school, and they got a lot of kids that come out for football. So that's going to be a good test for the Eagles next week, a real watershed test. And we'll have it, like you said, Egidio, we'll have it right here on El Segundo Television for you. And a great start to the season so far. Like you said, they graduated a ton of guys, but they've got guys stepping up and doing the job. And 35-3, that's domination. They, what was it last week? 30-something 19, was it? 36-19, 31-19?
I have it here in my notes. Pull those up. They won
35-18. Okay, so two high-scoring games for the El Segundo offense.
Yeah, and that was a huge question also. You have a quarterback in Matthew Romero that's going to start this season. Yeah, sure, he sat behind some good quarterbacks. Jake Palmer, Lars Newbars, even watched when he was a young kid as a freshman, Jason Kale. But when he is the guy and he hasn't taken a snap really or hasn't attempted a pass at the varsity level, he's been in there. He was in there last year handing off here and there, when the score was out of hand. But he wasn't really in these crunch time situations. You didn't know what you had with Matthew Romero, and he's just done a terrific job so far in these 2 games. The poise for such a young quarterback to stay in the pocket and read the defense, know when to take off, know when to to run with the ball, know when to connect when your receivers are open. It's a great job by such a young quarterback. It's things you see from a quarterback that's starting for years, not something you see for a quarterback that's only started 2 games at the varsity level. So congratulations to Matthew Romero. Keep up the good work. He's doing a great job so far with this offense. And another quick point, Diego, the Miracosta game, when I talked to this team during training camp, we came out here, we did a little season preview. All the players couldn't wait for that Miracosta game. We talked to all the players. Which game are you excited for? Oh, Miracosta, can't wait. I have it circled on my calendar. So it's good to see that they're 2-0. They didn't overlook these other teams, Lusinger and Oak Park, trying to get to that Miracosta game. They were focused, got the job done, went 2-0, beat both of the opponents they had to beat, and now ready for this South Bay showdown with the Mustangs.
Well, yeah, it's kind of a natural sort of rivalry because Manhattan Beach is the next town south, and so it's their neighboring towns and, you know, bragging rights, blah, blah, blah. So it is a big deal. And they don't always play each other because they're in different leagues and they don't necessarily play against one another every year. So it's a big deal. And it's, you know, something that they are looking forward to, and it's going to be a bigger test than these first 2 games. Miracosta is historically a very tough team.
Yeah, it should be a good matchup in the South Bay between the Miracosta Mustangs and the Segundo Eagles in week 3. We're going to go to Tolly Anderson right now on the field.
I have Matthew Romero, the quarterback here. Huge win. First home game.
First home game.
How do you feel?
I feel really good. Just like being out there with my brothers and getting the win.
You know, I saw the passion on the sideline. How excited are you to come back to the sideline every time and have them cheering you on?
I'm pretty excited. It's a lot of fun. I like to hear it.
What's next? You have Miracosta. What do you want to improve for this next game?
No interceptions and just more completions for me and my receivers catching the ball. That's pretty much it.
Good luck this season. Welcome to the post-game show where we are going to talk about the Segundo Eagles. They had their home opener tonight against Oak Park where they won 35-3. Gideon, great first game. What are your thoughts on this first game here?
Well, Segundo came off, didn't take their foot off the gas pedal whatsoever, outscoring 7-0, then 14-0, and then ended up 35-3. Segundo never trailed in this ball game. Big thanks to their junior quarterback, Matthew Romero. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. 2 of those touchdowns to Kyle Freeman, and then the other touchdown to Danny McEntee. A great job all around. The defense stepped up big. The secondary for this Eagles team, which is the senior group on this defense, stepped up big time. Pass deflecting left and right. Some big sacks there from this defense. A great job all around. A great win. Now Segundo is 2-0.
I would say there was a lot of star players tonight. I know I was on the sideline. You were up in the box. Who stood out most to you?
Well, like I said, some of those guys that I just mentioned, Kyle Freeman, Danny McEntee could definitely be considered player of the game, but I think we're going to go ahead and give it to the junior quarterback making only his second start at the varsity level, Matthew Romero, with 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, like I mentioned. All around now, he has 7 touchdowns on the season, only 2 interceptions, and that interception last week was one in garbage time. It didn't really matter in the outcome of the game. So did this one also, but such a poised kid. He's got the body, he's got the arm like everyone talks about, but he's so poised. He stays in the pocket, knows when to take off and run, knows when to pass. He looks out, he makes decisions so quickly, and for only making his second start at the varsity level, got to give it up to the kid. Congratulations, Matthew Romero. You're our player of the game for tonight.
Matthew, I cannot believe that I interviewed him quickly after the game. He doesn't seem like a junior, doesn't seem like It's only his second game. I can only imagine what this season is going to be like for him.
Yeah, he's growing up fast here, and thanks to Coach Shevlin, who's taking this quarterback under his wings, and he's teaching him. Now, Matthew Ramirez also sat behind and seen some great quarterbacks. Lars Newbar, Jason Kale, Jake Palmer last year. So he's studied some great quarterbacks here in the El Segundo area, and now it's his time to shine. And so far, with 2 games under his belt, he's doing a terrific job.
Big shoes to fill, but he's doing a great job. I believe they play Miracosta next week. What's to come with that game?
A big game against the Mustangs. It's going to be here at home. We're going to have it on El Segundo TV, so definitely stay tuned for that, or come out here and support your El Segundo Eagles live. Watch that game. It's a matchup in the South Bay. Last year, it was the first meeting between these two teams. These teams hadn't played in over 20 years, even though they're just minutes away from each other. Manhattan Beach is the next city over, right next to El Segundo. But these two teams are finally going to meet up for the second time. Last year, El Segundo went into Miracosta's home, beat them. Now it's time for the Mustangs to try to get some revenge on the El Segundo Eagles. Should be a great game, definitely one that you do not want to miss. It should be a great matchup.
Friday, 7 o'clock. Is that correct?
There you go. We'll have it right here on El Segundo TV.
And that will do it for Egidio and Tolly here at Hazeltine Field. We'll see you again next weekend.